Hello, God bless. It's me, Dick Jr. Coming to you. I'm just going to talk about pottery a little bit, or what I figured out. I was talking about these colors, these slips that I had ordered. So I ordered 4 slips. This is white. I've got black, a red, and a yellow. Now that black can be fired in a reduction firing, oxygen reduction, and it'll come out black. So the red is red or black, depending on how you fire it. Anyway, I'm adding these to my collection of Native American type pottery things that I'm doing, and something that I have realized is really kind of cool with this slip is because of the way I'm trying to fire these things. Is it's in a fire outside, not in a kiln, which is a very slow process. It's not a lot of thermal shock. Sometimes it happens, but anyway, if you fire outside, they heat up and cool off different, quite a lot faster than it would be in a kiln. It's still a matter of hours, but it's a little more thermal shock for clay. So you add in grog, which they call it grog. It's broken up pottery, already fired, brick, dust, things like that. Sand can be used. That's what I'm using, natural silica sand, and I'm mixing it in with it to help with that thermal shock. Anyway, that when you put that sand in there, there's a bit of a grit to the clay. Even when you smooth it out and everything, there's always just kind of a sort of grit. So something I noticed about these slips is that as I add the slip, it puts a thin coat of a very fine clay, soft, fine, beautiful clay in there. So it covers up all those little grits. So as you get your color on there and you get it, then you can smooth it out, and you don't feel the grit no more. So it's just something I learned. Also, excuse me, I got a little stomach thing going on. Chemo today. Uh, so the slips for me, for what I'm doing, seem to be a little thick, which is okay because I take their slips and I add water to it. So what I'm doing is like a 2 to 1. You know what I mean? I take 2 tablespoons of the slip, and then I'll take a tablespoon of tap water, and sometimes a little more even. Sometimes it's a 2 to 2, 1 to 1 ratio. And then I mix it up and get that slip, floating in there real good. And it's very thin when it goes on, and it doesn't cover very well. But on this wet pottery that's sort of leather hard, you put it on there, it's super thin, you can see through it, and it absorbs into the pottery and bonds really well. So then I come back and I put another coat over it, and it does the same, and it does the same. So I may have to put 2 or 3 or 4 coats on it. Maybe I thinned it too much. But this is the thing. I'm certain that this slip that I am applying to this pottery will stick. Now, whether it cracks or not, I don't know. I don't think it will, but it will definitely stick and probably not pop off anywhere in this because the fact that it's worked in so deep. Like I tried to slip, and even though this says it's a wet slip, you can slip at various times depending on what you're doing, whatever. And I had a couple pots that I've got pictures of on my Facebook that I made. Anyway, they had dried out, and I tried to dry slip one of them, and putting the slip on the dried pot that was ready to be fired caused the pot to crack in one spot because of the shock of being wet and dry again with the slip. You see what I mean? Lesson learned. Anyway, I kept that one. I'm not going to fire it because it'll probably blow up. So I had another one, and I tried to moisten the pot. Something else I found out about pottery. Once it's set, it's set. Okay, you can't moisten it and try to come back to this point. So if it's wet, you fire it. I mean, if it's dry like that, you fire it. You can glaze it and fire it again if you want to add color. But if it's wet, you can add a slip. And even though I've seen people add slips to dry, I've watched Native Americans with my own eyes do various things, so I know it can be done. I'm just saying that in my situation, that the wet slip is good, but I got to thin it out because it seems to be too thick. And then when it dries, the slip itself cracks because it's so thin. And it's not really, this slip is not really like a plastic, like a clay. It's a clay slip, but when you feel it, it doesn't have that same plastic quality as clay does, that squishiness that holds it together. So anyway, that's just what I'm doing a little bit today. I have been thinking about it for a couple of days, but I'm doing this thing with this chemo, and I think a lot and don't do much. So anyway, thanks for watching. God bless.